Ooh, that's not cool. All right, let's try it out. Been having some bad luck with recording, so let's see how this goes. Chapter 3. The wide beds of kelp, which surround our island on three sides, come close to the shore and spread out to sea for a distance of a league. In these deep beds, even on days of heavy winds, the Aleuts hunted. They left the shore at dawn in their skin canoes, did not return until night, towing after them the slain otter. The sea otter, when it is swimming, looks like a seal, but it is really very different. It has a shorter nose than a seal, small webbed feet instead of flippers, and fur that is thicker and much more beautiful. It is also different in other ways. The otter likes to lie on its back in the kelp beds, floating up and down to the motion of the waves, sunning itself or sleeping. They are the most playful animals in the sea. It was these creatures that the Aleuts hunted for their pelts. From the cliff, I could see the skin canoes darting here and there over the kelp beds, barely skimming the water, and the long spears flying like arrows. At dark, the hunters brought their catch into Coral Cove, and there on the beach, the animals were skinned and fleshed. Two men who also sharpened the spears did this work, laboring far into the night by the light of seaweed fires. In the morning, the beach would be strewn with carcasses and the waves red with blood. Yikes. Strewn means everywhere, like all laid out, strewn. Many of our tribe went to the cliff each night to count the number killed during the day. They counted the dead otter and thought of the beads and other things that each pelt meant. But I never went to the cove, and whenever I saw the hunters with their long spears skimming over the water, I was angry, for these animals were my friends. It was fun to see them playing or sunning themselves among the kelp. It was more fun than the thought of beads to wear around my neck. This I told my father one morning. There are scarcely a dozen left in the beds around Coral Cove, I said. Before the Aleuts came, there were many. Many still live in other places around the island, he replied, laughing at my foolishness. When the hunters leave, they'll come back. There will be none left, I said. The hunters will kill them all. This morning they hunt on the south, next week they move to another place. The ship is filled with pelts. In another week, the Aleuts will be ready to go. I was sure that my father thought they would leave soon, for 2 days before he had sent some of our young men to the beach to build a canoe from a log which had drifted in from the sea. There are no trees on the island except the small ones stunted by the wind. When a log came ashore, this happened once in a long time, it was always carried to the village and worked on where a chance wave could not wash it away. That the men were sent to hollow out the log in the cove and to sleep beside it during the night meant that they were there to watch the Aleuts, to give the alarm should Captain Orloff try to sail off without paying us for the otter skins. Right, for the right to collect the skins around their island. Everyone was afraid he might, so besides the men in the cove who watched the Aleut ship, others kept watch on the camp. Every hour, someone brought news. Ulape said that the Aleut woman spent a whole afternoon cleaning her skin aprons, which she had not done before while she had been there. Early one morning, Ramos said he had just seen Captain Orlov carefully trimming his beard so that it looked the way that it did. Looked the way it did when he first came. The Aleuts, who sharpened the long spears, stopped this work and gave all their time to skinning the otter, which were brought in at dusk. We in the village, Galasat, knew that Captain Orlov and his hunters were getting ready to leave the island. Would he pay us for the otter he had slain, or would he try to sneak away in the night? Would our men have to fight for our rightful share? These questions everyone asked while the Aleuts went about their preparations. Everyone except my father, who said nothing, but each night worked on the new spear he was making. Okay, interesting. So, I'm thinking here, are they preparing for a fight maybe? Even though father is saying like, hey, they're just going to go, it's fine, and I'm sure they'll pay us. However, he is working on a new spear. So that tells me maybe he thinks there could be trouble a brewing. Speaking of trouble, I've been having all kinds of trouble this morning with my lovely the short chapter with my lovely software recording stuff. So hopefully it will work perfectly this time, because so far it's been working all right. So let's get you good old-fashioned window captcha, and let's propertize it. Let's get you in here. Ooh, but not in front of me, right? Yeah. Move down. I said move down. Ooh, that looks weird too. Move down. Move to the ground. Boom. One more, right? Yeah. Move down. There we go. All right, sorry. All right, let's go to the map. So to get to Google Maps, I'm going to click on my waffle. And I'm going to scroll down to Maps. Ooh, it looks like... All right, I'm not going to jinx it, but it looks like it's working so far. All right, I'm going to do a couple of options here that I'm going to tell you about. The first thing I'm going to do is get to it's called satellite image, because this map is mostly like for directions and stuff. But I think we can do a little better. So let's turn on satellite, click down here, satellite. Next thing I'm going to do is turn off the labels, because you know me, I'm a no labels kind of guy. But more to the point, I just think it looks nicer without labels. Because of course, the real Earth does not have labels on it. And I'm also going to enable the 3D mode, which is right here underneath this little compass. And the 3D mode allows me to hold down my control key and tilt the Earth, see the actual tilt of the Earth, or not the tilt of the Earth, but see the curvature of the Earth. And it allows me to take a look at elevation. So I'm going to go from my home here in Palm Springs. I'm going to go west. Here are those cool reservoirs that we'll have to learn about sometime. I really want to go on a field trip there. That's where I get my water from. Although it comes here, the Whitewater River comes into the San Bernardino Mountains, speaking of which. So this is the ancestral home of the Cahuilla, from the desert to this pass right here. A pass is like between two mountains to pass through, I suppose. And I think this is the top of the pass over here. And the school, I'm going to say, is in this valley. Right? Okay, maybe I'm getting a little lost here. All right. Yes, I was right anyway. The school is right here. Let's actually go there so I can prove I know where it is. So the 210 is this guy, right? Yeah, or close enough. And this appears to be the school. What's with all these dirt pits around here? All right, is that Stater Brothers? No, that's the school. There it is. Boom. And where's room 17? Room 17 happens to be right here. Did I leave the window open? Let's see. Hey, there we are. So if you were in our class last year, you know room 17 better than I do. It's very cool that we have the parking lot here. Is this part of our school, these trailers? I kind of prefer not having trailers. For those of you who want to know where Mrs. Herlihy's classroom is, I think it's this one. All right, so let's get to the island of the Blue Dolphins pretty quickly here, while everything seems to be okay. So we're going to go west at the San Bernardino Mountains up here. We're going to go west. I'm going to tilt it all the way. See all of the street roads. See all of the roads. Oh, we got a botanical garden. Very nice. So we're going to keep going west until we get to Los Angeles. It's about an hour and a half's drive. Let's untilt a little bit so we get to the coast. This is going to be like LA proper, East LA. Here's Santa Monica. Venice, I think, is over here somewhere. This is West LA, very trendy. My sister lives somewhere over here, I think. Hollywood, West Hollywood. Over here, I guess. And here is Malibu. It's a south-facing beach. I grew up literally over here in the San Fernando Valley. And keep going west, we get to Santa Barbara, Ventura-ish over here, north of Los Angeles. And today, Santa Barbara is the site of an excellent University of California. Highly recommend. But it used to be the ancestral home of the Chumash people. And we've got these nifty islands out here. These are called the Channel Islands. So the Chumash also lived out here. And our island that we're looking at, I originally thought was Catalina, but no, not the case. Our island is this one right here. It's called San Nicolas. It's a real place. It's not called Island of the Blue Dolphins, but maybe it was. And this story is based on a true story. Not that this exact story happened, but something kind of like it happened. And I'll tell you throughout, as I learn more about it, what that means. So see, on the south side of the island, we've got a lot of mountains. On the north side, we've got more flat terrain. We can see there are no trees because it's very windy, so I guess the trees never have a chance. On the northeast corner of the island, we have what appears to be an airstrip, which definitely was not there when our story took place. And I wanted to point out one more physical feature. They talk about a mesa. I think the village is where the mesa is. I think they said that. And the mesa is this area. It's a elevated flat area. See some mountains over here. It's called a mesa. Mesa means table in Spanish, so it kind of looks like a table. I guess you could say that. Maybe, probably not. And finally, where did Captain Orlov and the Aleuts come from? Well, Captain Orlov, he's from Madarasha. He's from Russia, which is right here. This would be Russia. Well, here's South Korea, the ancestral home of Miru. And going a little bit north, we get China. And, wait, am I right about that? Yeah, okay, I'm right about China's big. And here we have Russia. So Russia goes all the way from this part of Europe. This is Russia, like over here. All the way from over here to over here, but not that many people live here. It's a place called Siberia. But they have kind of ports and stuff, port cities over here. This is where Captain Orlov probably would have set sail from. And he probably hugged the coast. And you might be asking, what? Are there mountains in the ocean? No, there are no mountains in the ocean. This is just because the way they satellite took this picture, it's a bunch of different pictures that they put together. So they took the pictures at slightly different times, maybe some slightly different sunlight, and that's why it kind of looks like they're at different elevations. Remember, the water is moving always, so these are where the Aleuts are from. So these are actually called the Aleutian Islands. The Aleuts are native and indigenous to this part of Alaska. They're part of that group that literally walked there about 10,000 years ago, or maybe even longer, when there was a land bridge connecting Alaska to Russia. And so Captain Orlov picked up the Aleuts somewhere up here. We don't know exactly if he's paying them or if he just took them, captured them. I don't know. It has a pretty negative portrayal of these particular Aleuts. They're just working for Captain Orlov. And they probably sailed down here. We got Vancouver, I think, is over here. Of course, there was no like Canada or America at that time. Well, there wasn't America at that time. It's the early 1800s. So right now, this is still up here would be British territory. Over here, California was still part of Mexico in the early 1800s. It wasn't until 1851, I think, that California became part of the United States. And they would have sailed down and made it to San Nicolas, right here. All right, I'm going to go check out this video. Boy, do I hope it worked, because that took a while.